everyone, and welcome to another Countdown to Christmas video. Today we're going to talk about calendars, little mini calendars that we put on our card fronts. I have done this every year for the last 4 years, and I send them out to my customers. So let me just show you. I'm always looking for something a little different every year. I'll show you how I kind of started the whole process a few years back. I've just made really simple tent cards. It's just basically a regular card with a tent fold, that's what I call it, in the middle, a little W. So it's just a piece of cardstock that I've glued in there that's 4 1/4 by 4. And on the 4-inch side, I've scored it at 1, 2, and 3, and then shaped it into a W like that and glued it in. Really simple. So you can do whatever you want. It's basically a card front. And then you can just glue on your calendar. And then the year after that, I really got into these Post-it holders. They were kind of fun. But then I thought, well, let me see. It was this one that I originally created. And then I thought, how can I actually make it a bit bigger so I can actually put a calendar on the front? So I'll put a link to this video. So I've made a video on that last year. And I've also done the cards, the tent cards. I don't have one to show you, but tent card that is similar to this hot dog style, right? And it stands up and then sticks out here, and you have your calendar here. So I've done a few different things, but today I'm going to make basically, I'm going to call it a Z fold card with a calendar in it. And what I like about this, because I do mail them, is that it's flat and it's not too heavy, so the postage isn't too much. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I did that. So I'll bring in my cutter. I'm going to use Basic White today. I'm going to use Country Flowers, and I'm going to use Country Woods designer paper. So we're going to use these two designs that I picked out. They're basically the opposite of each other, I guess. Anyway, so let's cut our cardstock down to 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And I'm just going to create a basic card. So 4 1/4, fold. Now, what I'm going to do is bring this in at 2 1/8. So I want half of the front. So that's 2 1/8. And put another score line there. Take this out for a sec. Now, I've flipped it around so the score line at the 2 1/8, I hope you can see that, is on my right-hand side. And I'm going to close this. And I'm going to be a bit picky, make sure that this lines up properly. And I'm not going to fold this back quite yet, okay? I'm going to bring in my cutter. I'm going to turn this, and where that score line is, let me see if I can bring my cutter in, because I do this at the bottom of my cutter. Can you see that? I think so. Okay, so what I do is go to the 2-inch mark. I'm at the 2-inch mark, and I'm going to put my cutter down on that fold, which should be 2 1/8. But go by eye, not by measurement, because sometimes we all measure a bit different. Okay, so I have a cut. You can cut with scissors if you want as well, but so I've cut all the way up to that fold line, and then I'm going to open it up. I need a score line now from the left side here all the way down. So I'm going to put it back in my cutter, and that should be about 2 1/8. That should be center of the card front, which was 4 1/4. So that should be at 2 1/8. Bring in my score blade. So I have little markings here, I don't know if you can see, and I'm lining them up with this cut line, and I'm scoring. And if I need to go a little higher, I'll just do that. So can you see that? I have a score line there. That is it for the scoring. So I did it this way. I wanted to leave this fold unfolded because I don't actually want to fold this 2-inch part on the bottom, and then I'm gonna actually burnish it a little bit to get the fold out of it. I find this a lot easier to do as opposed to just scoring from here to, I don't know, a number. All right, so now I can fold it, and I can, actually I'm gonna stick this out like this, because again, I don't want this portion to be folded. Okay, so that is my card base. So I hope that made sense. So I had it like this. Again, I didn't want this to be folded in any way. So I pushed this, after I cut this line, I pushed it forward. And I hope that makes sense. It's the only way I know how to explain it at this point. Okay, so let's bring in some designer paper. And where are my measurements there? Okay, so for this top left portion, I'm going to open this up as if it was an open-faced card. And on the top left here, it should be 3 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to bring in some DSP, and it should be, let me just, so it should be 4 1/4 this way, and so I want my DSP to be 4. I'm going to make my DSP 4 1/16. If you don't like 16th measurements, you just do 4. By 3 1/4. And again, I'm going up by 1/16. I just don't like a really wide border. That's why I do that, but you don't have to do that. So that's going to go there. And then I've got 2 squares down here that are 1 7/8. But again, I'm going up, and I actually think this piece ends up being a perfect. I might take a shave off. Let me see. That works perfectly. And then I'll turn it this way and cut 1 3/4. Again, plus a 16th. That's just me. You don't have to do that. I'm going to make 2 of them. And those are going to fit right there. Then I will take this DSP, and I'm going to cut that also by 1 7/8 plus that little 16th. And then it's going to be 3 1/4, excuse me, plus, well, I hope I did that right. Always second guessing myself. Yep. Okay, so that's already cut the right way, and so I will again do that one at 1 3/4 plus that little 1/16. Again, you can just stay in the 1/4 inch range. I don't mind doing 1/16 cuts. All right, and one more piece we are going to cut, which will be this side, and it's going to be 1 7/8 plus that 16th and 5 1/4 plus a 16th. There we go. Just like that. I have all our pieces. So let's glue those on. All right, that was super quick, super easy. That's my card front, so let's embellish it now with the country flowers. So I'm going to bring in some scrap paper and my memento. And what am I going to do? I'm going to stamp. I'm going to do my favorite technique, actually, when it comes to this stamp. I'm gonna stamp the bucket that's in here if I can find it. Do I do this every video? I think I feel like I do. I feel like I'm always losing something when I'm actually recording. So anyway, found it. That's good. Okay, taking that bucket, and I'm gonna use some smoky slate. I'm just gonna do this really old technique called direct to paper and drag this ink. Don't make sure it's not too wet. If it's too wet, doesn't work quite as well. And then I'm gonna decide what I like here. And I kind of like that. And then there's a little stamp in here, I think, called, maybe not. Maybe that's for another day. But if I find it while I'm moving on here. Oh, right in front of my nose. All right, I'm gonna take that. It says flower market. It's really kind of cute. And I'm gonna go back in with this smoky slate and just stamp this right there. Cute. All right, we'll go to the cutter later and cut that out. In the meantime, we're gonna take another piece of scrap and we're gonna take these flowers and bring back our memento. Make sure that's not too thick. That's too thick for me. I can see it already. Well, let's see what happens when I stamp it. Nope, not too bad. Okay, you can see how it's a bit black there. Felt like I got a little too much ink, but that'll work. Okay, let's bring in some of my markers. And I'm gonna go ahead and color this using some of the colors that are in our designer paper. So I will color and probably fast forward this. I feel like I could color forever. Something very relaxing to me about coloring. Not sure what that is, but I do enjoy it. I missed a little leaf here. All right, so there we go. That is our flower. So I'm gonna cut out all of this on the Big Shot here, and I will be right back. Okay, I went ahead and cut all those out. I cut a couple of leaves out as well and some old olive. And check this out. Isn't that a cool technique? I really like that. Just a direct to ink to paper technique. And cut that out. Perfect. Okay, one more thing before I assemble that. I'm gonna bring in this stamp and some Versamark and some Night of Navy. And we're going to emboss this in white. So I'm using the opaque bright white by Wow. It would help if I brought in some scrap paper so I don't make a mess. That looks pretty good to me. Oh, you know what? This was the paper I used black on. Oh, yoy. Well, I'll figure that out later. I can see I can see black and I don't want to contaminate my jar, so we will figure that out. All right, let's emboss this. We'll bring our cutter back in. Didn't exactly stamp that very straight, did I? So I'm going to try and straighten it out here. That's better. And then I will give it I'm going to turn it over. Now I have a nice edge. I can go this way. And then, let's see. Good. Didn't have a die that was big enough for this word. So cutting it out like this is just fine. I'll just angle the edges like that, and that'll be our front. So let's assemble this really quick, cute Z-fold calendar card. All right, I'm going to pop that up using some dimensions. A little baggie. Oh, those are mini. Don't want the mini ones. A little bit left there. Grab that. Don't want to waste any of that. So we'll take the edge and just plunk it down there. And I'll put that on the bottom. All right, so I'm going to take this bucket. First thing, I'm going to take another calendar, and I am going to give it a bit of a background. So I think I'm going to use Balmy Blue. So this is 3 by 2, 3 by 2 1/4. So let me get some Balmy Blue. Piece of scrap. Let's see what I got. Let's see, this looks like it'll be big enough. What did I say this was? These little calendars are 3 by 2 1/4. So 3, I'm going to make it 3 1/4. Did I say 2 or 2 1/4? I think I said 2 1/4, so I'll do 2 1/2 this way. That should give it a bit of a frame to it. Yeah. Okay. So I did order these from Tailored Expressions. If you happen to live in Surrey, British Columbia, Country Lane carries them. You can buy them from there as well. I believe she just carries this size, though. There is another size of the square one that you can also purchase from Tailored Expressions, but I don't think Country Lane carries those ones. Just this size. All right, now we're gonna put our little bucket on. Put some glue just at the top here. Add our flower. Let's get rid of this paper. Don't need it anymore. Okay. I like that. I'm going to add some greenery behind it. Let's see, probably like that. Come on, glue. Okay. Ooh. And I think I'll put one more kind of up here. So I'll add some glue. And that's gonna hide our calendar a little bit. Not a whole lot, but we'll hide it a bit. And then we will glue it to the front, making sure that nothing sticks that we don't want to stick. That should do it. Oh, I noticed my handle needs to come out. There we go. All right. Put that here. Let's make sure that there's no glue on the other side, and there is not. And there you have it. You have a Z-fold calendar card. I think that's very cute to mail to a friend or your customers, and maybe even instead of a Christmas card, just a nice New Year's card. So I hope you enjoyed that and learned something new, and we will see you guys next Tuesday for another Countdown to Christmas. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.